This level is called Metal Mania because it finishes exploring all of the mechanics of Metal Pack. It takes a second to get there, though. Because first we have to deal with all this. That door only opens after we free all 3 sets of villagers. I know you're stuck, hold on a second. Now, each of the sets of villagers is surrounded by a lot of ghosts. And we do have to fight the ghosts around this one. But for the others, we can kind of just hit and run. Especially since we don't have to wait for the vanishing platforms to appear for us. As has already been established, you can use Pac-Man's Chomp as a third jump. So, you know, screw waiting on vanishing platforms. I think this world is kind of notable for finding a new use for one of the most basic ghosts, being the blue ghost that shoots slime at us. We're not going to see that for a bit, though, because they don't stick around very long. There's so many people talking at the same time. And they're all movie references. The only reason to come over here was the Slimetanium. We've already freed all the villagers. So I accidentally lied. I forgot the tubes briefly reappear for this world. So here's where we start getting into the metal mazes again. This one's a bit more complex than the others because it incorporates multiple layers. Or at least incorporates them in a more unique fashion than the previous mazes. Not yet, though. First we have to make a quick pit stop so it can explain something. If you try to use the magnet power-ups attack on bigger ghosts, it just draws you toward the bigger ghosts, instead of drawing the bigger ghost toward you. Which is bad. Because you'll smash your face against them and get hurt. Considering this only happens once or twice, or can only happen once or twice throughout the game, that's kind of a neat detail. From here on out, the moving platforms start moving back and forth instead of just up and down or left to right. They switch planes on you. And there's a lot more of them as well, which means you never know if the platform you're heading for is going to disappear out from under your feet. Which does happen a lot. It is a little more difficult to fight ghosts with Magnet Pack, especially here where you can't even use his magnet. But they designed it that way because they knew it would be more difficult. You could intentionally get hit, and then just use Pac-Man's Scare. But there's no reason for me to do that. Also, there are blue ghosts up there that are sniping at us. One of them hit me in the butt, but for some reason it didn't hurt. Yes, here's the big maze. This one has no single path to the end. There are more moving platforms than anywhere else in the game, and it's very easy to accidentally step on a platform just before it moves and fall to your death. There is no up, down, left, right, or anywhere. Everything moves all directions all the time, and it's genuinely difficult to find a path to the exit, even though there are multiple of them. Thankfully, I know where I'm going, and I already picked the path that I think is the fastest and most interesting. But this is pretty much the best climax that the Metal Pack power-up could hope for. Because this is a really complex maze. And you saw just there, to get where I'm going, I had to flip off the bottom of one platform to get on top of the other one. That's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. This is the only place in the game you even have to do that. Almost plummeted to my death just now. But yeah, I have nothing bad to say about this this maze. In fact, this maze, back when I first played this game in 2013, was the point at which I said, man, someone needs to show this game off. Because they don't just have these gimmick power-ups with single uses and use them the same way throughout the entire game. They fully explore their uses in every way imaginable. sometimes they overexplore them, like with Balloon Pack. But Balloon Pack is pretty much the only criticism I have against this game. Against its design, I mean, there are a ton of technical nitpicks, but that's the only problem I have with its design. In case you were thinking that maze had no wheel in it, there's a wheel back there, we just didn't see it. Remember how I said there were 2 stages based entirely around Balloon Pack? Well, this is one of them. And they've already done everything they can with Balloon Pack. And this wouldn't be so bad if you only saw Balloon Pack from here on out very briefly. There's nothing wrong with reusing bits of game design briefly if you've already explored the game design, just to spice things up, you know? But this is one of 2 entire stages based around Balloon Pack, and we're not sitting through it. Or at least, we're not sitting through it without a fight. Balloon Pack was used a few times in the TV series, or maybe just one time, but one of the times he appears, he mentions being a meme. Unironically, he is self-aware of being a meme. Because someone posts pictures of him to... I don't know what Pac-World's version of Facebook is. The definition of meme has changed a lot because of the internet. On the internet, memes basically just mean funny pictures or images or words that have wound up getting reused so many times that they're stuck in the internet's collective subconscious. This is actually not that different from what real memes are. Memes are just ideas that are transplanted into our minds by our environment or the people around us. You've probably heard of the argument nature versus nurture. Well, memes is a little bit of both nature and nurture. It's true that a lot of memes are given to us by the people around us, but it's also true that giving memes is just a part of our nature. There's really no escaping them. There's no way not to have memes. They're just in your brain whether you like it or not. And some people use this as an argument as to whether there's actually free will. Now, in the game Metal Gear Rising, Raiden has a complete breakdown over this. Because the main conflict of Raiden in Metal Gear Rising is he wants to do the right thing. But he doesn't know what the hell that is. And when Monsoon tells him that no matter what, people are going to be assholes, that there's no such thing as free will, no way to actually be good, he just loses it. Now, if you talk through a codec later in an elevator, one of the characters mentions that there is a way to theoretically defeat memes, and it's finally time for my favorite power-up, and it's also the least used power-up, but that's okay. They only use it as much as it needs to be. This is Spinner Pack. Spinner Pack's main function is that he can move super fast. You just trace a line along the ground, boom! He goes where you point him. This enables him to cross over vanishing platforms before they can even vanish, and if you trace a line... Oh. Well, I guess we can talk about that when I get the power-up again. Spinner Pack can platform just the same as normal Pack. And you can also do normal Pack's Chomp. So you don't really lose any mobility or anything as Spinner Pack. As I was saying, you can trace a line through ghosts, and Pac-Man will instantly chomp any ghost in his way. And in fact, he will chomp multiple of them, like that. It is ultra satisfying. The only ghosts that you can't kill by tracing a line through them are ones that are flying. You can even attack mini-bosses with Spinner Pack. You can also jump while Spinner Pack is spinning, but you have to react really fast to do that. There's also no real reason to jump while Spinner Pack is spinning. So yeah, Spinner Pack's entire thing is that he's super fast. He can press switches really fast. Also, these platforms will vanish after you reach the halfway point. So don't just dilly-dally. There are a whole lot of blue ghosts all around us on a whole ton of tiny platforms trying to shoot at us from far away, and they are incredibly accurate. Now, something they didn't think through very well is that you can double jump over many of these vanishing platforms, and you don't need to use Spinner Pack for them at all.
You are infuriatingly good, but I think it's time I gave you a more time-consuming distraction. Challenge. See if you can
This challenge actually spawns an entire new game mechanic in the sequel, where there are frequent challenge areas, but this is the only one in the first game. So you might think we want to use Spinner Pack here, because we saw how awesome Spinner Pack is in combat. And when you're fighting a normal amount of ghosts, yes, Spinner Pack rocks, but we don't have time to charge up Spinner Pack right now. There are too many ghosts, and we can't kill them fast enough. Luckily, at this side, there is our good old-fashioned Murder Orb friend, who we will grab shortly. I'm not sure it's actually possible to kill all the ghosts in the time limit with Spinner Pack. The best way is obviously the Fire Orb, because it just instantly kills anything you point it at. Regular Pack is a close second, though, because of his ability to scare the ghosts.
You did it! I guess I'm going to have to think of better challenges.
I don't usually talk about the achievements, but that achievement was from getting 50 lives. This is one of my favorite levels because it centers around my favorite power-up. We don't do anything really new with it. We do this, where we need to press both switches in a very short time limit. But anyway, there are 3 separate sections that lead to 3 separate platforms, and on each of these platforms there is a switch. And each switch opens up more of the path to the exit for us. So I guess this level is non-linear, because you can do any of these switches in any order that you wish, but I'm doing them in order of difficulty. You also really don't even need some of the platforms because of that triple jump thing with Pax Chomp. Also, when you collect pellets as Spinner Pack, he collects the pellets faster than they can actually be collected, so they have to catch up with you. Normally you'd want to wait for these platforms to be in front of you in any other platformer, but we can kind of anticipate them and use Pac-Man's elongated jump to get to them before we should. I like that this is supposed to be the Pacopolis Mall, but it's really just stylized like a giant kitchen. I think that's pretty funny. But yeah, even though Spinner Pack is my favorite power-up, there's not a lot to do with him. He's fast, and that's his sole game mechanic, more or less. He has a really cool combat function, but that only has one use, really. So even though he's my favorite, I'm not upset that he isn't used very much, because, you know, you don't want to overuse him. Unlike a certain other power-up that appears a lot in this world.
I'm usually easy to find. Right in the middle of a slimy ghost invasion. No offense. Betrayus must be slipping, though. That was pretty easy. Everything's fine now.
No, it's not. This was just another distraction.
Oh, man. What is it now?
We overheard Betrayus telling the ghost to keep you busy while he finishes his ghost ray.
Ghost ray?
Yeah. He says he can use it to blast the Tree of Life and turn it into a Tree of Death. It'll make Pac-World just like the Netherworld, so Betrayus can rule over everybody. But he's missing a piece he needs to make it work. Something from some temple.
Well, at least he hasn't found it yet.
I don't think so. Right now, he's just digging a big hole under his palace.
Oh, that is not good. He must know about the Temple of Mystery. If he finds what he needs, Pac-World is doomed. What are you going to do? I'm gonna make sure I get to the Temple of Mystery first.